On Fox 14.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Right now at 7, our very own Samantha Walker shares how a Kansas teen is running for a good cause. Plus, Missouri Southern students had the opportunity to share their passion for the world we live in. And we've got a muggy, hazy start to the day, and we're tracking the possibility of strong to severe thunderstorms later today and overnight. We'll have a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, April the 15th. It is Monday. It is tax day. Hope you're ready. If you're not, Lori Horton's joining us. She's got some snacks that'll hold you over or that you can use as relief from finishing your taxes as well, a celebration for finishing those taxes. And of course, we'll have more with Lori a little later. And one Kansas teen used Sunday's good weather to help run for a cause. KOAM Samantha Walker has more on how a class assignment is helping to support individuals with spinal injuries.
Lebec Community College student Cass Lewis is doing more than just writing papers for class. For an assignment for his public relations class, he organized the Wheelie Fun Run fundraiser.
I'll be running for an hour, and people have pledged donations, given donations flat out, and I'm just going to run as much as I can.
Funds raised will support a newly formed nonprofit called Live With It. The organization supports individuals with spinal cord injuries and paralysis.
I've lived through that for the last 33 years, and we know there's just a lot of challenges that come along with being paralyzed, and so we want to just be there as a support and a resource for those people who have similar challenges.
Live With It founder Kevin Olson is Cass's uncle. Cass says the cause hits close to home.
I've just seen how he lives with it and how he lives a good life. I hardly ever never actually have heard him complain. And I think that it's important for people to have the opportunity to live the life they want to live, even with their disabilities.
Cass's public relations instructor came out to support her student, even running a lap with him. She says it's great to be able to see a student's work come to life in this way.
I always encourage students, again, to pick topics or pick causes that are near and dear to them. And so to have a student be able to bring a community together and raise money for such a good cause, that makes me pretty proud to be, teaching Cass and all my PR students.
And for the running teen, something that started as a class project became something so much more meaningful.
It makes me feel really good. With a small town like this, a lot of people know Kevin. He speaks at a lot of different places, even outside of town, outside of state even. And to see this many people care it's really awesome. I'm really glad to see people taking part in their community and stuff like this. I'm glad to be a part of it.
In total, Cass ran 22 laps, raising roughly $2,500. Reporting in Oswego, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Donations can still be made to the Teens Fundraiser. You can learn more about the organization and how you can make a donation on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. And as we've been discussing, we really started discussing this several days ago, but watching the potential for strong, possibly severe thunderstorms as we head into this evening and overnight tonight. And now we're here. So let's take a look quickly outside first. Take a look at the haze in this shot. That's how humid it already is. It's relatively muggy outside. It smells like rain, and you can see the haze on our camera from downtown Joplin on the Cornell complex. You can also see those clouds continuing to increase across the area. This, though, a great shot of that sunrise from our camera at 7th and Rangeline. But again, clouds increasing. They will continue to do so today. Those clouds will also play a significant role in our thunderstorm chances. So here's the story. We've got the atmosphere primed for strong to potentially severe thunderstorms today. The cloud cover could potentially impact how strong or severe these storms get. If we see the storms, when they develop, they're going to be in an area, or in an atmosphere rather, that is primed for them to become strong to severe. But the cloud cover could impact how many of these storms we see and just how severe they get. As of right now, we have a low to elevated tornado risk across mainly Kansas and Oklahoma, low to elevated hail and and low to elevated wind risks across the area as well, with the higher risks for wind and hail into Kansas. So we're going to keep a close eye on these storms. Now this, of course, is for day one, which goes until about 2 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. And we're looking at the potential for those isolated to scattered thunderstorms this evening between about 5 and 9. If we can see those storms develop, they'll be scattered, so they won't be everywhere, but they will have the potential to be strong to severe. So we're going to keep a close eye on that for you. Then we'll get another round overnight tonight, and we'll talk about that here in a few more minutes with the full forecast. 64 in Joplin right now, 61 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures well above average across the entire area. We are in the low mid 60s. We are getting close to pushing some upper 60s out there as well. 59 in Iola is the cool spot right now. Highs today, well above average. We're talking mid, maybe even upper 80s out there. Mostly cloudy to just plain old cloudy skies. And then again this evening, we'll start to see that opportunity for a few scattered showers and possibly some strong to severe thunderstorms as we head through the evening. We're going to go into detail on all of these threats and that forecast in the full forecast, and that'll be coming up here in just a few more minutes. On to today's top stories. Around 20 train cars went off the tracks in a derailment in Wyandotte Saturday evening. Derailment blocked Main Street and East 153rd Road in Wyandotte. No one was hurt in the crash. Numerous area agencies responded to help. The BNSF train appeared to be hauling railroad ties and was traveling west from Missouri into Oklahoma. A local nonprofit hosted a shooting competition to raise money for its mission of reaching out to high school students. The 8th annual Pull for Young Life brought shooters to the Shawnee Skies Range in Wyandotte to compete for prizes. Prizes were awarded to the top 3 teams as well as the top 3 individual shooters. All of the money raised supports the efforts of Southwest Missouri Young Life.
They've got aspirations for the future, and we're trying to help them, see that and help them along the way, and be of any kind of support we can to them. And, I think that's what it's all about, is being here for each other. And
there was also a raffle for an over-under shotgun. Well, saddle up! Great American Pony Drive made a stop in Joplin Sunday. Now, they aren't real ponies, but they have quite a few under the hood. A group of Ford Mustang enthusiasts are celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Ford Mustang by taking a trip across Route 66. Now, their journey started in Oklahoma City, made its way through Miami, Baxter Springs, and Galena before stopping at the Joplin City Hall.
It's a neat thing for people as they're driving by, they're double taken. It's like, look at all those cars. We've seen people videoing as we drive by and taking pictures. It's a big deal. It's fun.
The Club of Cars spent the night in Joplin before continuing their trip, which will end in Chicago. This is what happens when you read ahead. Now, the Missouri Southern Wildlife Society chapter Saturday hosted an outdoor Education Community Day. The students spent the day educating the community about nature and the world we live in. Attendees were able to hold live animals and participate in water sampling.
It's seeing the excitement in the younger kids. I was that young kid at one point, and I had one specific biology event similar to this, and that was what sparked the years that brought me to this conservation degree and the idea that I wanted to pursue wildlife management, things of that sort.
Saturday's event was at the Missouri Southern Biology Pond on campus. And that's a look at our top stories. Check that forecast in this half hour. Coming up next, Lori. She's back with us, showing us her version of a crunchy sweet treat.
Here at Joplin Greenhouse and the Coffee Shop, we're often asked
to look around to create the look that you want to make your roof over the top.
Welcome back to the KOA Morning News on Fox 14. Lori Horton joining us. She's begun creating her version of these things, these Star Crunches. They're behind the time and date, but they're right there. See, they look like that. The only thing is these are homemade, which probably makes them even better. So where are we at here?
It really does in a way, because no shade to Little Debbie there. But,
oh, absolutely. I mean, Little Debbie makes fantastic snacks.
She's a wizard. We can't say a word against her. But there's a lot of preservatives. There's a lot of things that we put in these to make them stay on the shelf for weeks and weeks on end. So in essence, these are a little bit better for you because these are just made with real food. So they're going to spoil, they're going to go bad, which means they're a little bit better for you.
Okay.
The other bonus is the ingredients that I put together for this are less cost than 2 boxes of these Little Debbies, and it's going to make about 4 dozen
Okay,
of these little
see,
star
you
crunches.
can save
So
money, which is kind of
it's-
key right now.
It really is. And you know, we're coming up on the end of that year when it's time to thank those teachers for putting up with the kiddos all year. You know, some of those things. I've put together some little boxes over here of them that are going to be
nice.
a perfect little teacher thank you
those little
gift.
boxes.
You know, you got 8 or 10 in there, so kind of think along those lines. What we started with this morning was just a little bit of butter, milk, the chocolate chips, and the caramels. And
Yes.
if your taste runs more to the caramel side, I recommend swapping these out for some Werther's Original Soft candies.
Okay.
They work just the same, and they really boost that caramel. I'm all about the chocolate, so I splurged for the Hershey's.
Okay.
You can,
well,
you
yeah,
can
you
tweak
got
it
to. I
either
mean,
way.
you got to do it the right way, right?
That's
If you're gonna do
right.
it, you got to do it right.
That's right. We melted those caramels and chocolate and butter low and slow, made sure that the caramels melted evenly and got fully incorporated into that chocolate. And once that mixture was really nice and smooth, then we added the marshmallows.
Right, and you mentioned that was key because if you put the marshmallows in too early, they can scorch, and you
That's
don't
right.
want burn. Some things are good burn. Cheese, for example, can be
Absolutely.
good burned.
Absolutely.
But not necessarily marshmallows.
Not the marshmallows, unless you're that campfire person. And
Even
that's okay.
then, I mean, I don't want my marshmallow on fire when I eat it.
Absolutely not. So what we've got now is just a perfect blend, really nice and smooth. You can tell it's a little
yeah.
bit lighter colored in that chocolate than we started, and it's just a perfect mixture. So there's two schools of thoughts when it comes to a Rice Krispie treat. Do you pour the Rice Krispies into your mixture, or do you pour your mixture over the Rice Krispies? I think it's a little easier to just start with a big old bowl and pour that mixture over the top.
Okay.
So this is where you want to be a little bit careful because this is nice and hot. So this is where you want to let those kiddos step back a little bit. And make sure you have a really big bowl because this will get a little bit messy as you start to coat. This is about 6 cups of
Incredible
Rice Krispies.
how much has come out of this pan, which does not seem that big.
Exactly.
But it's a lot more than what you might think.
It is a lot. This is, you know, everybody's big popcorn bowl or, you know, that one bowl you have in the house for everything.
Now, obviously, there were already Rice Krispies in this bowl.
Absolutely. We had 6 cups of Rice Krispies in there, and this is going to really nice and thoroughly coat those. If you listen close, you might even get
I've been hearing the
snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're doing it right. And you know, you don't have to be a brand snob when it comes to the crisp rice cereal. Any kind will do because you're just going to taste this coating that goes on the top. So there you can save a little bit too.
All right. Well, here in just a moment, we're going to come right back. We're going to finish these out and have more on these amazing little copycat Star Crunches. Stick with us.
At Aaron's 3 F-150, only at your Midwest Ford dealers.
Welcome back. So we are almost done with this incredible recipe for the copycat Star Crunches, the ones you can make yourself.
Absolutely. Super quick to put together at home. The longest part is that kind of patient melting of those caramels.
Yeah, you mentioned that takes about 10 minutes or so.
About
And that's
10
not
minutes.
that bad, but I mean, in today's world, we're used to everything is right away.
Right.
So you got to be patient.
You got to be a little patient. Keep that heat low. But once we get to that point, then those marshmallows mix in quickly and melt fast. The mini marshmallows actually even melt a little faster because just less surface area.
Of course.
And then we're going to dump all of that onto our Rice Krispies. And we've got a pretty typical looking bowl of what you'd think of as Rice Krispie treats, but instead of just that vanilla marshmallow, we've added in the chocolate and the caramel.
Yeah.
So now comes kind of the sticky part because these do have caramel in them, so they're a little sticky. But we're going to just use our cookie scoop to portion them a little bit. You want to always put them out onto parchment paper because they'll be a little gooey. And then here's my pro tip for the day. Get that pan spray out, spray your gloves or your hands, doesn't matter. If you got clean hands, that's okay. But spray those a little bit,
Okay.
so that when you go to mush these and form them,
They don't stick to
just
you.
stick to your hands.
Okay.
Little but less mess for you. But you want to form them into that little round shape with a little divot in the middle. And that way, in the end, they really, really look like your Star Crunch cookies. And, you know, I never know whether to call these like a no-bake cookie, or are they a little bar? Are they a treat? I don't know. Whatever they are, they're delicious.
Oh, absolutely. Star Crunches are really good. When you make it yourself, for some reason, it's always a little better, you
They
know?
really are. They're a little softer. They stay fresh for a while. And like I say, these are a really great gift because this is just one batch. So if you guys can see, where'd my bowl go? That makes a lot. And I portioned these out pretty close, maybe a little bit smaller than our Little Debbie ones here, but I literally got like 50 odd out of that, out of that one batch.
That's incredible.
And you know, again, it's very inexpensive ingredients when it's all put together. The biggest thing would be if you swap out those caramels for the Werther's Originals. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more, but otherwise,
but in the long run, I think you're still saving money anyway. You can go for those expensive ones because this is going to make so many.
Exactly. And you know, at the end of the day, your teachers do not need another coffee mug. They don't need another little tchotchke to sit on their desk. Give them something delicious that they can eat and enjoy, and you know, maybe leave that school year with a sweet taste in their mouth.
Especially if your child has been a little wild or rambunctious that school year.
We don't know any of those.
No. All of our kids are perfect.
This can be a thank you, or in some cases, an apology.
That is true.
So true. So you want to take your time, portion these out, try and make them fairly even, but again, kind of smush them just a little bit. If you don't want to get those hands in there, these are not hot, by the way. They're warm, but they're not hot to the touch. So these are not, even with my gloves on, not burning my hands or anything of that. But you can even use the back of a measuring cup if you want to. But again, the key is to spray it with a little bit of that baking spray that we love. And that way you're not just making a sticky mess. You're actually smushing and portioning and flattening out. So it works fabulous either way.
All right, and these certainly look fantastic. Lori, thanks so much for coming in again this morning. We appreciate it as always. We'll have more sweet treats from Lori, of course, as we go through the month. And we will have all of this, of course, too, on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And we'll be back with a check of your forecast right after this.
From the moment
Quality, compassionate, affordable care.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:23 now on this Monday morning. We've got that potential for strong to severe thunderstorms, possibly into the evening hours, and we've got a slightly better chance as we head into the overnight and early tomorrow morning. So let's start with today. Again, this covers through about 2 o'clock in the morning. We have a low to elevated tornado threat across parts of Kansas and into Oklahoma. And I'm going to move to this side just so it's a little easier to see. Low to elevated hail and wind risk out there across the entire area, but again with that elevated risk primarily into Kansas and Oklahoma. What we're looking at is a dry line. Dry line is expected to trigger some isolated to widely scattered storms across parts of the area as we head into the evening. Because these are dry line storms, they'll be individual, they'll be supercellular, they'll be in an environment that is primed for them to be strong to severe, with hail and wind being the primary concerns. However, an isolated tornado or two cannot be ruled out. Now, the other factor to consider here too is it's expected to be mostly cloudy, if not just plain cloudy, as we head through the day. That could have an impact on how many storms we see this evening and just how severe they can get. Now, the atmosphere is prime for strong to severe storms, but the cloud cover could slightly reduce that risk as we head into the evening and potentially into tomorrow. There's a lot to keep an eye on, but we still want to watch these storms very closely. Then, overnight into tomorrow, you can see this is almost like a mirror image from today into tomorrow, where that elevated risk shifts to the east, leaving the low end risk off to our west, and moves the higher risk into parts of Missouri and Arkansas. This is associated with the cold front that's expected to start to roll in and overtake the dry line late this evening and into the overnight, and it's expected to trigger some storms will be possible ahead of it. And then a line of storms by about 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning across the area that'll roll through to the east. So what does that look like on the future track? Well, first, it looks like the clouds. As you can see on the future track, there are some clear spots. That's what's going to be playing a factor into the storms as we head into the evening. Clear spots ahead of the dry line or outside of the zone for development aren't going to have as significant as an impact as if we were to see some clearing back to the west. But either way, cloudy, mostly cloudy skies and well above average temperatures out there. By 4 or 5 o'clock, here's an area for those widely scattered showers and thunderstorms. And again, some of these could be strong, potentially severe. They are done by about 9. So roughly a window from, say, 4 to 9 is when that first round is. Then overnight, we get a pause from about 9 to 1 a.m. We'll see some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area ahead of the front. We'll see more of them. Some of those could be strong, potentially low-grade severe. Then as that cold front starts to roll in, that's when we're expecting a line of thunderstorms to develop. So between 7, 8 o'clock, here it is across southeast Kansas, and it continues to roll through the east through the morning, and then it'll be another opportunity for some strong to severe thunderstorms. Also tomorrow, take a look at these wind arrows, how fast they're moving. We're talking wind gusts tomorrow upwards of 40 miles an hour and still quite warm even behind that front. So you also saw on the future track where that line didn't look overly impressive. That's because there's still a lot of question on the cloud cover and the impact it will have on the storms. So we're going to keep a very close eye on that. Right now, though, 64 in Joplin, calm winds. The skies are continuing to cloud up, more clouds on the way. Temperatures still well above average out there as we are in the low to mid 60s across the area. We get our day started mostly cloudy, warm, 77 by 11 o'clock this morning, and that is ahead of highs today into the mid 80s out there, maybe even some upper 80s. And the winds will pick up out of the south this afternoon, late evening, about 25 miles an hour will be those gusts. Near 80 again tomorrow and Wednesday. Rain Thursday cools us down even below average into the weekend. And we'll start to warm up again next week with more shower and storm chances next Tuesday and Wednesday. That is a check at your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Only at Riverbend Casino Hotel in Wyandotte, Oklahoma.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's now 7:30. I'm Chris Warner, and we do have breaking news this half hour. The FBI is conducting a criminal investigation into the deadly collapse of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge that is focused on the circumstances leading up to it and whether all federal laws were followed. The FBI said Monday it was present aboard the cargo ship Dolly conducting court-authorized law enforcement activity. We'll have the latest on this developing story on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Switching back to local news, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly vetoes a bill to ban gender-affirming care from transgender youth. The bill would restrict the use of puberty blockers, which trans minors may use to delay the development of gendered characteristics. Puberty blockers are reversible. In her veto message, the Democrats said the bill, quote, targets a small group of Kansans by placing government mandates on them and dictating to parents how to best raise and care for their children, end quote. However, the Republican-controlled House and Senate may have the votes to override that veto. Pineapple Bliss Saturday held a Dogs in the Drive-Thru event for local pups. The frozen dessert shop teamed up with the Joplin Humane Society for the event. Attendees that brought their furry friend received a free pup cup and bandana. All proceeds from Saturday's event went to the Joplin Humane Society.
Well, it's important to get the dogs out of their kennels and into the public's eyes in a way that's more relaxing for the dogs, where they can be more carefree and more themselves than being seen behind bars with a lot of anxiety. And it's also really important to get donations from events like these because we are strictly ran off of donations.
Pineapple Bliss is located at 1021 East 20th Street in Joplin. And downtown Joplin is a little bit more colorful. Saturday was the grand opening for the Keystone Gallery, which is located at 4th and Main and features art, photography, and jewelry. The gallery currently displays work from more than 20 local artists. Saturday, they helped present their work, including one artist who was working live. The owners of the Keystone Gallery are photographers who also display their work. They say they want to use art as a way to support and enrich the community. And taking a look outside, we've got that thunderstorm threat later today. This is a live look first, though, from our camera 7th and range line. It's a little hazy, it's a little muggy, and those clouds are continuing to increase across the area, and they will continue to do so through today. Here's a look at the current expectations on the possibility of strong through severe thunderstorms, especially this evening between roughly, again, 4 and 9 p.m. We have that low to elevated tornado threat primarily into Kansas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma. A low to elevated hail and wind risk across the area, with the elevated risk currently primarily into Kansas and Oklahoma. This is with the possibility of some isolated to widely scattered thunderstorms ahead of a dry line as we head into the evening hours, again between roughly 4 and 9 p.m. this evening. Then we're going to see another round of strong, potentially severe thunderstorms overnight tonight, and we'll go into detail on all of this with the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Right now in Joplin, it is 64 degrees, 62 in Pittsburgh, so keep in mind that's about where our highs should be for this time of year. Temperatures again above average across the area, low to mid 60s out there, so a very mild and again muggy start out there as well. We get our day going, mostly cloudy skies as the clouds increase, and maybe even just plain cloudy skies. And those clouds could potentially play a role in our thunderstorms this evening and overnight. The atmosphere is still set up for the strong to severe thunderstorms, but the cloud cover could reduce the number of storms we see. It could also potentially reduce how severe the storms get. But it's something we're going to keep a very close eye on as we go through today and into tomorrow morning. And about 6 o'clock or so, again, between 4 and 9, we'll see some of those scattered showers and storms out there. And the winds will begin to pick up as well later this afternoon into the evening out of the south, gusting upwards of about 25 miles an hour. And again, we'll have a complete look at your forecast and break down that severe threat here in just a few more minutes. Back to local news. One local organization is hoping to make sure that children in the 4 states always have a bed to sleep on. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
It's a good feeling to know that we'll be making a difference in the lives of children in the area.
Sleep in Heavenly Peace is an organization with a recently started chapter in Carl Junction. The group works to provide a bed for children ages 3 to 18. Their motto is, "No child sleeps on the floor in our town."
We start from scratch, just lumber, and when we are finished with this, we'll have a fully assembled bunk bed. We get mattresses as well. They get quilts, they get bedding, they get everything that they need to sleep on to have a bed. Some kids go from sleeping on the floor to a full bed.
The organization hosted its first public build at the First Assembly of God in Carl Junction. More than 25 volunteers came out to help build 10 beds by hand. Matt Burgeon is a local youth pastor who brought some kids with him to volunteer. He says the cause hits close to home.
Well, I've got several kids of my own, and I couldn't imagine any of them not having a nice, warm, comfortable bed to sleep in. And so just wanting to make sure that other kids have that same luxury and the same comforts of home of being able to sleep in a nice, warm bed at night.
Sleep in Heavenly Peace is volunteer-based, and all tools and materials are purchased through donations. The chapter president says the cause is something that can bring a community together.
Something everybody can rally around, young or old. It's a cause that tugs at heartstrings, and it's awesome to see different generations coming together. My son's here today, and just, different generations building together.
Reporting in Carl Junction, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Today is tax day, and there's still time to file your taxes if you haven't done so yet. We're going to have some tips that could help you save you from any late fees.
Welcome to us at Miss Daisy's Home and Decor and give your home the makeover it deserves.
In Consumer Watch this morning, Iran's weekend attacks on Israel could cause spikes in oil prices. Many analysts expect oil prices to rise when markets begin trading today. The increases come after oil hit a 6-month high on Friday, before Iran launched more than 300 drones and missiles at Israel on Saturday. Global benchmark Brent crude reached $92.18 a barrel. Some oil experts say there's been no impact yet on production. Some major companies are looking to shorten their staff's work weeks in order to combat burnout. The 2024 KPMG CEO outlook shows that 30% of leaders at major firms are thinking of alternative solutions, like cutting the work week into just 4 or 4.5 days. There are also other alternatives, including offering mindfulness or resilience workshops, encouraging the use of AI AI tools and strengthening relationships amongst coworkers. Well, it's tax day, and you have just hours left to file a return or request an extension. Otherwise, you might end up paying a fee. It could climb to 25% of the taxes you owe if you wait too long. Amy Kiley reports on how to file or get an extension quickly.
Fastest way to get your refund is to electronically file and to receive that refund through a direct deposit.
It's not too late to file a tax return or request more time. Some people automatically get an extension. Residents of Maine, Massachusetts, and Washington, D.C. have an extra day or two for observed holidays. People who live or work in federally declared disaster areas can check their deadlines at irs.gov. It's possible to request an automatic 6-month extension for free through an IRS partner on the agency's website. The deadline for that is today, and it involves paying estimated taxes. For those who want to file before midnight tonight,
the IRS this year is attempting a direct file with multiple states.
people not in direct file states can check out the IRS's trusted partners. Those with an adjusted gross income of $79,000 or less can file with them for free. Others can use paid services. Experts urge taxpayers to enter information correctly.
Something as simple as just, fat fingering your social security number, could really cause you a headache.
Watch out for scams.
If you didn't initiate that contact, go to the source.
And avoid late fees.
Sometimes people get scared and they're like, oh my goodness, I owe money, I'm not going to file. And for that, we really encourage people, go ahead and file.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
If you know you're due a refund, you have some wiggle room. The failure to file penalty won't apply to you. That wraps up Consumer Watch. Now let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Get ready for an off-road
Best nurse I can be is just being the best person I can be.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 on this Monday morning, and we have got strong to severe thunderstorms possible this evening and then again overnight into tomorrow morning. Let's take a look. This is for today into about 2 o'clock tomorrow morning. We have a low to elevated tornado risk across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. Then we have a low to elevated hail and wind risk across the rest of the area, with the elevated risk or the higher risk over southeastern Kansas. We're anticipating a dry line to set off isolated to widely scattered storms between roughly 4 and 9 this evening, as some of these storms could be strong to severe. And again, wind and hail are the primary risk, but we do have that possibility of an isolated tornado or two. Now, our cloud cover today is going to play a role in the storms this evening and into tomorrow morning. It could limit how many we see. It may also limit how strong or severe they manage to get. But that severe threat covers into tomorrow. It's basically a mirrored image as the threat shifts to the east, and now it's into most of Missouri and Arkansas, with the lower end risk across Kansas and Oklahoma, because once the dry line's done and the cold front approaches our area overnight tonight, we could see additional storms developing ahead of that front and along that front that could potentially be strong to severe. Here's the issue that we're facing, is this cloud cover. It's leading to some uncertainty into exactly how these storms will evolve. The atmosphere is prime for them. If you've stepped outside, you've noticed it's quite muggy out there. The atmosphere is prime for strong, potentially severe storms, but the clouds could interfere with exactly what takes shape this evening and overnight. But we're still keeping a very close eye on all of this because it's been on our radar for several days now. It'll be very warm out there. By this evening, scattered showers and thunderstorms across the area. And again, some of these could be strong, potentially severe. By 9, they're out of here. We'll get a break. Some of us may even see clearing skies overnight briefly before we see additional scattered showers and storms by about 1 a.m. or so across the area. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe. And then the greater chance of some more organized severe weather will come by Tuesday. So about 6, 7 o'clock, the cold front starts to roll closer to our area. We get storms along and ahead of that, and these could be strong to severe as they roll off to the east. Here we are at 10 a.m. They're now crossing into the Missouri side, and by the afternoon, these are out of here by about, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Also take note of these wind arrows, how fast they're moving. We could see wind gusts tomorrow out of the south-southwest upwards of 40 miles an hour. So do keep that in mind as well. But you also saw in the future track, those storms didn't look overly impressive on the future track. And that again is owing to the uncertainties with the cloud cover and its potential impact on our storms. Outside, well, the clouds increasing. 64 in Joplin is what we're talking about. 60 is our dew point, 87% humidity, and the winds are calm for the time being. They're going to pick up out of the south, occasional gusts late this afternoon and evening, upwards of 25 miles an hour. Temperatures, again, well above normal out there as we are in the low to mid 60s across the area. We're going to be darn near 80 degrees by 11 o'clock this morning. That's how unseasonably warm we are. We're supposed to be in the low to mid 60s for our highs. We're going to go well above that. Mostly cloudy skies and maybe even in some cases just plain old cloudy skies out there. Again, owing to the uncertainties with the storms, just about the cloud cover, but otherwise very warm. We're talking mid 80s, maybe even some upper 80s out there. We'll have those scattered showers and storms in the evening between roughly 4 and 9. We get that pause. That's when the winds start to pick up a bit. And then more showers and storms overnight and another very mild night back into the mid 60s. And even though we're going to have storms and a cold front tomorrow, we're still going to make about 80 degrees, near 80 on Wednesday. And then we have another system Thursday. That's going to bring us some shower chances and bring us much cooler weather. In fact, we may even be close to below average heading into the weekend. Warming up next week, more rain chances Tuesday and Wednesday. That is a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
The winning celebration. Saturday at 7 Eastern on Fox.
A long overdue honor for the millions of women who answered the call during World War II. Nicole Killian was on Capitol Hill for the Congressional Gold Medal ceremony for Rosie the Riveter.
In trademark red and white polka dots,
Rosie, the Riveter, Rosie.
More than 24 women representing Rosie the Riveter received recognition with a Congressional Gold Medal for working on the home front in shipyards and factories during World War II.
Remember these 4 little words, we can do it.
Accepting on behalf of the mostly centenarian group, 98-year-old May Cryer, an original Rosie who produced B-17 and B-29 bombers for Boeing in Seattle.
But a lot of women were treated poorly by the men. They resented having the women in there.
Marion Sousa worked in a shipyard in Richmond, California.
Why is the recognition important?
You want to know that you accomplished something during your life. And I guess this is it. Although I raised 6 kids, and I think that's an accomplishment too.
Susan King was a riveter from Baltimore.
For the few of us still living, any time will do to prove to America that we were important too.
Trailblazing then.
We were doing it to save our country.
Certainly an impressive honor and one that is well deserved. Now, our day one outlook updates at 8 a.m. Sometimes it's a little early, sometimes it's a little late. It was a little early today, and this is the latest information from the Storm Prediction Center in terms of our severe threat for this evening into the early overnight hours. As you can see, couple of changes. One, the wind risk has been reduced to low across the area, and that's the entire area. The hail risk still remains low to elevated, but it's shifted a little further to the east, and the tornado risk still remains low to elevated. The elevated has been backed up a little to the west. However, the low risk has been bumped a little further to the east. And again, this is for this evening between roughly 4 and 9 p.m. And then we'll have another round of strong, potentially severe storms overnight between roughly, let's say, 2 a.m. and noon tomorrow. And that's where this risk comes in, where the elevated risk shifts off to the east with those incoming thunderstorms. So a lot to keep an eye on. And of course, we'll be here with the Skywatch weather team keeping an eye on these storms through the evening, and we'll be here again tomorrow morning with that next round of potential strong to severe storms. That's a quick check of that forecast update on the severe threat. We'll be back with another look at the forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
We know gym membership.
187th Infantry Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division. We are proud to salute Aaron Knuckles, a 4-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, news you need to know before you head out the door. Around 20 train cars went off the tracks in Wyandotte Saturday evening. The derailment blocked Main Street and East 153rd Road in Wyandotte. No one was hurt in the crash, and numerous area agencies responded to help. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly vetoes a bill to ban gender-affirming care for transgender youth. The bill would restrict the use of puberty blockers, which trans minors may use to delay the development of gendered characteristics. However, the Republican-controlled House and Senate may have the votes to override that veto. And Saturday was the grand opening of the Keystone Gallery, which features art, photography, and jewelry. The gallery currently displays work from more than 20 local artists. Saturday, they help present their work, including one artist working live. The owners say they want to use art as a way to support and enrich the community. All right, we have that strong, potentially severe threat as we end the evening between 4 and 9 tonight, and then another potential round of strong, possibly severe storms roughly between, say, 3 a.m. tomorrow and about noon across the area. A lot to keep an eye on. Between now and then, though, mostly cloudy, if not plain cloudy skies, which that could have an impact on these storms later today, but highs well above average. We're talking right around the mid-80s, maybe even some upper 80s. Again, a few scattered storms out there in the evening. We get a pause. The winds pick up out of the south, gusting upwards of 25, and then storm chances return overnight tonight after midnight, lows back into the mid-60s. As we head into our Tuesday, we'll have those storms for the first half of our Tuesday with the best window for strong to severe storms again between roughly 3 a.m. and noon, and then it'll be near 80 again, near 80 also on Wednesday, and then the system Thursday cools us back down, temperatures even below normal for part of the weekend, warming back up next week, more shower and storm chances next Tuesday and Wednesday, but of course keeping an eye on our thunderstorm chances tonight. Well, Krispy Kreme is celebrating the tax filing deadline with a special donut deal. The donut chain says customers can buy a dozen original glazed donuts on Monday and get the second dozen for the price of sales tax in their state. There's a limit of only 2 dozen donuts per customer, and the company says that supply will be limited. This is the second year in a row the donut company has offered a tax day special. Of course, you got to either celebrate getting done with the taxes or celebrate the rush to get them done today. Well, we want to thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.